clerk of the city of New Brunswick. The time and location of this meeting and all meetings of this body are posted in City Hall, 78 Bard Street, New Brunswick, New Jersey. Roll call, Mr. Gentleman.
Mr. Caldwell?
Here.
Ms. Fajardo?
Here.
Mr. Hush?
Here.
Dr. Kranos?
Here.
Mr. Ortiz?
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Here.
Mrs. Seawood?
Here.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Here.
Mr. Spencer?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Mr. Captain, can you lead us through the flag salute? Reminder, the next monthly Board of Education meeting will be held on Tuesday, March 19th, 2013, beginning at 7 o'clock p.m. at New Brunswick High School in the auditorium, 1000 Somerset Street. We're very pleased tonight to have 2 additional board members as a result of the elected school board decision. I'd like to personally present to the public Miss Diana Fajardo, and I'd also like to introduce Mr. Hush. Can you both meet me in the front here?
Well, I would like to thank everyone that went out and voted and made this possible for us. It's a great experience to be here.
I feel the same, and thank everyone that did come out and listen to us.
Okay, next we have the presentation, Denise Cavallo from UMDNJ, the presentation of 60,000 donation from UMDNJ Foundation. Mrs. Cavallo?
Yes, Denise Cavalli is the Vice President for Development Foundation of UMDNJ. In 2010-2011, through UMDNJ, Robert Wood Johnson Medical School has provided funding for dental assistant programs in the amount of $300,000. The amount was used for our dental assistants curriculum development, the teaching position, dental chairs and equipment and supplies. As a result, over 90 students are now enrolled in our dental assisting and dental relations courses. In 2011 through 2012, the Foundation of UMDNJ contributed another $60,000 and continues to support our dental program. Now they are contributing an additional $60,000 to purchase supplies for the program. So Denise, on behalf of the board, we want to thank you for your work and that of UMDNJ.
I don't know, if I could just say a couple words. I'm sorry for my back to all of you. When this project first started, I guess it was about 6 years ago, the idea came up to have a health center within the school. And I said, what a great idea. So students can be able to receive health services throughout the course of the day. They can learn dental curriculum as well as health curriculum. The only problem is, in order to do this, they needed $600,000. And I said, you know, that's a lot of money, but I wanted this program to happen. And as of March 1st, this coming March 1st, I have raised for the program, dental and the health center included, over $650,000. And no one was more happier than me when we cut the grant.
So we have a resolution for you to accept a donation of $60,000 from UMDNJ Foundation. Whereas there is a dental assistance program offered to the students at the Brunswick High School, and whereas the Foundation for UMDNJ has generously donated a substantial amount of funds to develop and initiate this program in the areas of dental equipment, supplies, and curriculum development. Now therefore be it resolved that the New Brunswick Board of Education enthusiastically accepts the donation of $60,000 from the Foundation of UMDNJ to purchase supplies for use in the dental assistance program at New Brunswick High School during the 2012-13 school year. The board also requests that the board secretary send a letter of appreciation to the foundation and to Denise Pravala, UNDNJ. And that's signed. We're going to adopt it. Actually, we adopted it on February 19th, which is tonight. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Public comments on the consent agenda items only. That's consent agenda items, resolutions A through as. Have any questions?
Resolution P as in Peter will be tabled from this agenda until next month. We're going to get some further additional information and bring it back for your approval at a later date. So, Resolution P as in Peter will not be part of the approval. So when you, after public comments, you have any questions, someone can make a motion as amended without Resolution P.
Make a motion that we accept it as amended.
Mr. General?
Mr. Caldwell. Ms. Fajardo.
Yes.
Mr. Hush.
Yes.
Dr. Kranos.
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mr. Spencer.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, that was just for P, right? Was that's the amendment?
That's for the agenda without P.
Without P?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, moving on. Approval of minutes for January 15th, the monthly board meeting minutes. I need a motion.
Second.
Mr. Janneron?
Mr. Caldwell. Ms. Fajardo. Mr. Hush.
Yes.
Dr. Kranos. Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mr. Spencer.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Superintendent's report, Mr. Richard Kaplan.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. As everyone knows, this is a report based on the month of January, the preceding month. Our professional staff attendance was 93.75%. Our student attendance was 94%. Our total district student enrollment was 9,317. We had 126 suspensions. The board has the report attached compiled by the principals at each of the schools. On the HIB side, harassment, intimidation, and bullying, we had a total of 14, 2 at Lincoln, 3 at Livingston, none at Lord Sterling, 1 at McKinley, none at the middle school, 1 at Paul Robeson, one at Roosevelt, 6 at the high school, none at Health Science, and none at the adult center. There's an attachment for the board on that as well. And the board has the HIV reports in question. That basically concludes my report for this evening, and I need a resolution on the HIV as well as the attendance reports.
Okay, I need a motion on the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Janneron?
Mr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Ms. Fajardo? Mr. Hush?
Yes.
Dr. Kranos? Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Student representative report, Ms. Shakira Webb. She's not here. Okay, we'll go through public relations when we get there. Still unemployed. Finance committee report, Ms. Francesca Rodriguez.
I move to approve the February 2013 financial report.
Second.
No?
Are you looking to see?
Yeah. I'm good.
You probably have.
I'm looking for your reports.
There's none on there this month.
No, I'm saying, we're good. Okay, we're good. Okay, Mr. Janneron?
Mr. Caldwell? Ms. Fajardo?
Yes.
Mr. Hush? Abstain? Dr. Kranos? Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski? Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, facility committee report. Dr. Kranos?
Yes, light here. That's very holding down. Thank you. I'll borrow this one. Facilities Committee met on February 13. Harold Goodall was there to represent the administration. We heard a detailed report about buildings and grounds for Ken. Mr. Kuhnert came later to discuss our IT situation. I just want to highlight for the public only a few things. One is the AC Renshaw. They're continuing their weekly meetings with SDA and the contractors. All environmental work for the job site is completed on Livingston Avenue. Design work is in progress. This is one of these design build, which means you design, you build, you design, you build, you design, you build, or something like that. It's very quick, very fast interaction, and of course Mr. Humma's on top of it. Harold's meeting with them too, I guess. The other items have to do with security. I just want to mention that we're upgrading video surveillance at Lincoln School. Installation of new video surveillance was supposed to begin soon, last week, maybe this week. We hired a contractor at AFA to do the work. McKinley School ordered 4 new cameras for exterior of the building. We're trying to get perimeter cameras to be able to observe the perimeter areas as well as entryways. And Woodrow Wilson will be installing new video intercom systems for their entrance area as well. that's also in the works. We have other upgrades, roofs, IT hubs and whatnot that are on way. Livingston's new roof is in the process of being installed in the entry area. They're using a rubber membrane work. I was told by Mr. Goodlow that this was the original roof on the building, which is hard to believe, but we're finally getting a new one after many years. So, Mr. Hush was president of our meeting. Also, Ed, you were there. And any other comments from what we're ongoing work with the schools? We're encouraged to report problems that we see them, and Harold is right on top of most of them. So, that being said, if there are no more comments, that's my report.
Thank you very much. Policy Committee report, Mr. Ortiz, Benito Ortiz.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. We have before the board four policies that need to be adopted. These policies, policy 0110, 0141, 0143, 0151 are policies that deal with the new system that the board is working with now on the switch from the point of voice to the elected board. And they're mandated, so I make a motion that we adopt them on first reading.
Second.
Okay, Mr. General?
Mr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Ms. Fajardo.
Yes.
Mr. Hush.
Yes.
Dr. Kranos.
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mr. Spencer.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, the Athletic Committee report, Ms. Patricia Sadowski.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. The Athletic Committee met earlier this evening, and some of the things that we have to report on tonight are there's going to be some display cases located in the high school that will display memorabilia from past athletic history of the school, such as they have the Athletic Hall of Fame has jerseys, trophies, things of that nature. And they're going to be setting those up so that soon we can display some of the memorabilia that we have. Some of the other things we talked about tonight were the new schedules, spring schedules. You can reach Mr. Parham in the athletic director's office if you would like a copy of the schedules. We also spoke about possible batting cages, indoors and outdoors batting cages. There are a batting cage located at the middle school. But eventually we would like to have some located here at the high school. The winter season is over, and the winter season is over and has concluded, and the spring season will be starting, but we do have some of our wrestlers who will be competing on February 22nd at East Brunswick High School. We have a 9th grader, a 10th grader, two 9th graders, a 10th grader, and some 12th graders. About 5 individuals that will be competing in what they call the districts. So we wish them well, and hopefully they will be successful. Winter track, we have one runner that is going to be competing also in like their sectionals. All the basketball teams have finished. And our bowling team was very young this year and really didn't compete as well as they had. So we're wishing them better luck next year. We did have a good turnout at all our levels, and we're very proud of the students. And it's really important that they're out there participating. And also these students are all required to be in the tutoring program provided by the Play It Smart program. And as I talked about was our schedules. And we did have one disappointment though. Our soccer coach will be leaving and our baseball coach has left. The soccer coach is going to be leaving the district for a bigger opportunity, and we really wish him well. And our baseball coach is going to be going to the middle school to be the Dean of Students, and we will be discussing that later in personnel. And that's my athletic report for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Oh, and I have a bank reconciliation.
I need a second. Mr. General?
Mr. Caldwell? Ms. Flechardo? Mr. Hush? Dr. Kranos?
Yes.
Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Motion approved.
But before I go into the curriculum committee report, I'm going to put in the student representative report, Ms. Shakira Webb.
Hosted a bake sale February 5th and 14th. There's going to be a Black History program, talent show, in March 1st and 2nd, and practices are throughout this month. The musical auditions, The Apple Tree, have started this week, Tuesday through Friday. There has been HISPA and SAT prep, HESPA prep during Pathways for students to get ready for the test because it is the first week of March. The wrestling team is in districts this Saturday, and there's been a lot of community service going around. There's Big Zebras where high school students go to McKinley School and they help with the YSS program. Also, high school students have been going to other schools such as McKinley, Paul Robeson, Roosevelt to read to kindergartners. This is called Read Across America. And the 23rd of this month, there will be a sickle cell blood drive.
That concludes your report?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Great to have you back. The curriculum committee report. Dr. John Kranos.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Spencer. The curriculum committee met on February 5th. Our new board member, Diana Fajardo, was there. We welcomed her to that meeting. She had been freshly given her oath of office earlier before that. We also, Mr. Ortiz was there, myself, also Dr. Anzul, had a very interesting agenda. We talked with first Mr. DeWark about special projects, quantitative literacy and algebra, and online services, and also with Principal Valorizo, head of the bilingual ESL program, about the new rigor programs and the newcomer. The newcomer program is modeled after one in Newark, which was very successful. And we identify students early on in the program to give them extra training in rigor and move them along more expeditiously, and because we can identify who they are better than before. So we had additional levels of support for students that we discussed. There's also other courses that were mentioned. The NJIT has an association with us now, providing courses that also lead to college credit. In terms of intro to physics is one we've had already. Now we're doing 9th grade math skills, algebra courses that are ongoing as well. The other issue is being able to help students who are having difficulty in the high school or are falling behind in many areas. There's now an effort to develop programs that enable them to go online and have individual instruction to move them along, to get their skills back up to a level where they can actually succeed in some of the higher levels. So we've been working with, and this is endorsed by the NGEA because these are online programs with former teachers who are accredited, who have either retired or do these online programs on the side. So it's also supported by the NJEA as well as our school program as well. This is essentially a program we're going to try out and see how it goes, and we'll report back to you after the semester is over. We hope that this is successful, because otherwise these students get so far behind that there's no way for them realistically to catch up without this extra help and this online effort where they can access help as they need it. And this is mainly an after-school program as well that helps them after school. So these are many of the issues that we discussed at that time. We have curricular textbooks that we also considered. Have we adopted those in the earlier consent agenda, or are we waiting to do those later? That was in the consent agenda items. ESL, grades 9 through 12, and Spanish, grades 9 through 12 were also in our consent agenda that we considered. There were other grant proposals that are in the works that we'll talk about later, and we'll consider them at future meetings. It was a very long meeting, almost 2 hours in length, very detailed. Those of you who are new, this is how the board does most of its work. We have these detailed committee meetings that go on for several hours at length, curriculum, finance, whatnot. And then considered with maybe 4 board members, of the 5, you need 5 to have a meeting, 4 without having, are allowed to gather to have these meetings together. We meet with all the administrators and teachers, whatever, and then we report back to the board at our monthly meeting like today. So this is how we conduct our business. A lot of the details go on at the committee level. And then what you see in the reports are the distillation of all the ideas and considerations that have occurred at that level. So I just want to let you know that the board is very dedicated to, we meet in several committee meetings every month, hours, and then we are here to present our final results. And sometimes we don't present them. Sometimes we hold them back, as you heard tonight, when we need more consideration in the future. So anyone else at the meeting wish to add anything that I left out? Dr. Ansel, anything? That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Kranos. Public Relations Committee report, Ms. Patricia Sadowski.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. Public relations, we have a lot going on in the district, and one of our more active parent council, the bilingual parent council, are always doing something. And just recently, they met in late January with representatives from the New Brunswick Public Library, so that they were able to know all the resources that the library provides for their children. They've also been doing the Project Stay Warm raffle. A total of 13 blankets were generously donated by schools and staff members within the district. And raffle winners received blankets, and the blanket contributors will receive certificates of appreciation for their generosity, and all proceeds will benefit the Joan M. Bornheimer Memorial Scholarship Fund. So, kudos to our Bilingual Parents Council. They really do a great job every month. And they also had a movie. Hotel Transylvania was held on February 8th at the Lord Sterling Community School, where they had fresh popcorn and refreshments. And that's always a really fun night for the families. Livingston School held a fundraiser at McDonald's about a week ago now. And that was a fundraiser for the students that are going to be going to raise money for the students that are going to go to Japan as part of the Sister Cities program. And Mr. Spencer and I were there to partake of food that we really shouldn't be partaking of, but it tasted real good. One of the other things, save the date for March 18th, the 3rd grade Dance Power Waiting in the Wings, 7 p.m. performance here at MBHS. And that's pretty a fun thing to see the students. And what's really remarkable about Waiting in the Wings is they start out and it's a little plie and a little turn here, and then before you know it, they're up on point and really turning into beautiful dancers. So that's March 18th, put that on your calendar. A little bit more back to the athletic end, but the New Brunswick High School Athletic Hall of Fame will be having their annual dinner. It will be held Saturday, May 4th, 2013 at the Hyatt Regency in New Brunswick. The reception begins at 6 p.m. Dinner will be served at 7 p.m. The cost of tickets is $60 per person, and you can contact Mr. Kenneth Ito, 214 South 9th Avenue, Highland Park, New Jersey. And we do have phone numbers if anybody wants those phone numbers. And there's quite a big class of students, former students in New Brunswick High School, going into the Athletic Hall of Fame. Also a note on the New Brunswick Education Foundation. We'll be holding a multi-class reunion at the Elks in New Brunswick on March 9th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Originally it started out, it was just going to be like the classes of 1967 to 71, and now it's open to any New Brunswick High School graduate that would like to come. Donations will be accepted. They ask that maybe you bring some food, and you can contact, I think it's Jeff Harkins from class of 69 at optimum.net. You can probably find that on the NBEF website. And I think that concludes my report. Oh, one other we received tonight was the Z Chronicle, paper being put out by the high school students. There's some stories here about our new principal, Ms. Rodriguez, who said she's here for the long haul, which I'm glad to hear. And we wish her a lot of success, and as Mr. Spencer always tells me, we have your back. Some talking about in this also about our students that are involved in athletics. There was a story about a young freshman that just started at New Brunswick High School, and I loved her quote, "I am determined to get straight A's so I can have a better future." So she's off to a good start. Some of the things that the kids need to know when they're coming to high school: don't be scared or nervous, be aware of the attitude towards freshmen, orientation, find friends, don't take the easy way out, be open to change, extracurricular activities, and don't slack off. Very good advice. Of course, they have their horoscopes here, talking about the snack line in the cafeteria. I'm sure that's always a hot topic. And about technology and being addicted to technology, walking through the halls and texting, which they're not supposed to be doing. And keeping the school clean, is it teamwork? You bet it's teamwork. Teachers, interns at New Brunswick High School, there's always interns in the Play It Smart program, and also, we've had interns in the guidance department. All of this is teamwork, and this is a really nice little newspaper, and I'm glad to see it, and we wish them well with it. So thank you very much.
Pat, could I have one comment? Pat, I'm over here, John.
Okay. Oh, hi, John.
The Health and Wellness Center. Ed, are you going to talk about that later? No, you're going to talk about that through your comments?
No, please.
We were present at the Health and Wellness Center dedication on Friday, where our wonderful band played and our choral group sang. And then the dedication occurred afterwards. We got to witness, without actually having to go into it, the swimming pools, where our students are going to be trained. They are starting with our 4th graders in a week or two. They're going to be cycling through the Wellness Center, getting training on swimming, and eventually that'll progress through the grades. It'll be starting, I think, with 4th graders, starting on February 25th, I think, might be the date. We also discussed that at the curriculum committee, but I forgot to mention that, and I thought maybe that would be mentioned later. And, so we're all thrilled at that opportunity for our students. I also got a chance to shop at the Fresh Grocery, and I noticed also that they have a wine and beer center as well, as addition to many, many, many vegetables and healthy items there as well. The membership in the training center is open not just to New Brunswick residents, but also Middlesex County as well. And they're encouraging people to do that. It's really incredible, the facilities that they have. They even have a daycare where mothers can come in and their children will be taken care of, and they can go through health and fitness programs. It It was really an eye-opening facility. And when you drive into it, you go into a parking deck, and as you go up the ramp, the parking deck underneath is the swimming pools. I saw the lights on today, so the swimming pools are below the access to the parking deck, and the rest of the facility is on the second floor. So it's really something that you should make yourself aware of and check out and see what's available there, because I think it's an opportunity that's now available to everyone in New Brunswick and Middlesex County as well.
Thank you, Ms. Sadowski and Dr. Kratos. Middlesex County, Middlesex Regional Educational Service Commission report, Mr. Dale Colwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just before I begin my remarks, I'd like to add that the Fresh Grocer is my favorite place to shop in New Jersey, so if you haven't been there, you gotta go. For our new board members and some of you in the audience, let me just give a little background on the Middlesex Regional Educational Services Commission, because it's a little different than our other committees. The MRESC is really on a per capita basis the largest special needs school district in New Jersey. It's serving 13 different counties. And we service students with autism, students who are multiply disabled, students who have emotional challenges, really students that are dealing with educational challenges that in many ways are overwhelming. And we've been very proud to service a lot of the students in New Brunswick. One of the programs, and we had a presentation on this, that we're most proud of, and many New Brunswick students have taken advantage of this. I have this on my iPad here. It's called the Community Education Partners Program. And what we do is for the special needs students is work with corporate partners like Target, like TD Bank, Sam's Club, Lowe's, Pathmark, ShopRite, to provide job opportunities and job training opportunities for young people who wouldn't have that opportunity otherwise. So if you have a chance to go into any of these places and you see someone who is a special needs student working or greeting you or putting stuff on the shelves, I would encourage you to call over the manager and say, you know, I'm so proud of your store for really employing young people, because we need to encourage more and more folks to do that, so that more and more people of all backgrounds and capabilities have job opportunities. So that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin. I'll be brief. I really want to recognize, because we really don't give enough credit to, it's one thing being a board member, but you know, it takes support of family to allow a board member to be able to come in and make an impact on the school district. I'm just reaching out to both Ms. Hush and Diana. If you have your loved ones out there that you want to make recognition to.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. Absolutely. I would like to thank my family, my husband David, my son Chris. Chris, I love you. Feels like I won an Oscar or something, right? I didn't make a list. Mandy, thank you so much for always supporting me. And again, thank you to everyone here that has been so welcoming to myself and Mr. Hush thus far, and to the public again for making this possible. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to give my shout outs, Mr. Spencer.
Okay, Mr. Hush.
I don't see anyone out here, but I'm thankful for being on the committee. And I will do my best to work along with the committee so that we can continue to have programs for our children that are in school here and to better their futures for them. And thank you to the board for having me here and the public who helped vote me in. Thank you.
Yes.
Just a little historic preference. I've been around a long time, maybe too long, but anyhow. It's a historic moment because as far as the Brunswick records are concerned, these are the first elected board members, at least for 50 years and maybe forever. I don't know what they did before then, but I guess that's a different day. But these are the first elected people. I wish them well. I congratulate them. And and you're part of history, part of the Brunswick, and as we go forward, there'll be more elected board members. Thank you.
I'll move this up to all my colleagues too, if you have anything you want to say regarding the two additional board members.
I always have something to say, but it's really nice that there's like 5 zebras on this board now. So let's hear it for the zebras.
Okay, no one else? Okay, it's always packed. Okay, I too extend my deepest appreciations to both Mr. Hush and Diana. I call her Diana, for just committing themselves to be a member of this board, to add their views and their insights on things that they want to see accomplished through this Board of Education, and ensure that the students get and continue to get the quality education that's afforded to them. I'm going to go ahead from this point, and I'm going to go into the open questions from the public. There'll be a 5-minute discussion on any one topic, one topic. Please provide your name and your address, and sign in also.
Not on.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Charles Cradaville. I live in the 5th Ward of New Brunswick. And I want to also congratulate and welcome the new members to the board. It is indeed historic that we have school board elections. I want to congratulate you on your accomplishment and wish you all the best. My topic I wanted to speak about was the election that occurred. And I know at the prior meeting I had presented a document to the members of the board regarding a 60-day notice requirement for holding these types of elections, and I got an opinion from an attorney in town, and perhaps the president could refer this question to the board's attorney and let me know if this is a proper interpretation. The quote is, "I think it's clear under the statute that there needs to be a minimum 60-day notice for any type of election, in this case, a special election for the school board." Is that fair to say that's a correct or incorrect assessment?
I'm going to defer this to our attorney.
It was the opinion of the attorney that counseled us, in my opinion, that that's not an accurate statement.
Thank you. That attorney was County Counsel Tom Kelso. He said that to me at the Middlesex County Board of Chosen Freeholders, and I think his interpretation is correct. And I think that means we have a real problem because the election was held without proper notice. I don't know where that leaves us, but I do know that the board has retained an attorney whose sole job was to ensure that this process was smooth and fair. Mr. Anthony Vignolo, and I understand that he was responsible for essentially changing the deadline at the last minute for when petitions were to be turned in, or when the last day possible to turn them in was, and in doing so gave a real unfair advantage to one group of candidates over another. And I think that because Mr. Vignolo failed to fulfill the duty that he was assigned properly, I would ask humbly that the board not approve the payment to him for $7,500 as he quite frankly messed up the one job that he had. Is that something the board would be willing to do?
George? Absolutely not. His advice to us was appropriate, according to the statute, and I don't know what question you asked Mr. Kelso. I would certainly welcome him to address Mr. Vignolo or myself on that issue, but the election was fair. There were no unfair advantage. There were 6 candidates, and two prevailed. And it was done appropriately with proper advertising, proper notice. So I respectfully disagree with your interpretation, and I would challenge Mr. Kelso to speak to me or Mr. Vignolo or both of us. Mr. Vignolo, so you know, represents about 4 or 5 boards in this district, is a distinguished attorney in school boards and school board elections. And he gave us the best advice that he thought was available, and we followed it.
With all due respect, I asked the question of the board. I want the board to consider the legal advice that's been taken. Quite frankly, if there are going to be policies in place that give an unfair advantage to one side over another, that reflects poorly on the integrity of the entire board and all of the members. I think it's important that the board uphold that integrity and ensure that in all future elections that the utmost standards of fairness are followed, and that state laws are followed, and that there's not this last-minute confusion and changes happening. I think not only does it reflect poorly on the board, but it actually exposes the board to potential for costly lawsuits. So I think the board members have the responsibility to decide whether or not they're taking legal advice. And so I wanted to ask the board if that was something they would be willing to do. I know the attorney says it was not something he was willing to do.
Our attorney represents us. We use him as our counselor, and we're basing our decision based off on our counselor's advice.
Okay.
That stands as it is. It's not going to change.
Okay, and I'm just putting on the record that you're getting bad advice from these attorneys, and they should not be paid. I also wanted to ask a question of the 2 new board members regarding that election specifically.
Can you do this? Can you let someone else? So that's a different topic that you're bringing up?
It's about the election, actually. The question
No,
is...
but you were asking the question. You had the first topic, which was regarding the attorney's advice and the fact that you want the board to vote against it. If you can let another person come up and speak, and then you can come back and ask that question.
Thank you. I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
I'll change the subject a little bit. My name is Marge Kerber. I live at 2 Comstock Street, which is in the 2nd Ward. And I believe I spoke before about your first secret election, and now we have another secret election, I believe on April 16th. I saw these sample ballots in the home news, and that was the first that I knew about it. So my question for the board is, are you planning on doing any press conferences or press releases or anything on your website so that the residents of New Brunswick are aware that this election is going to occur? I know that you follow what you need to do legally, okay? But you're disenfranchising the residents of New Brunswick, the voters of New Brunswick, by not letting them know about this. I had gone out, I was talking to voters before the last election, and a lot of them didn't know about this. I'm also going to be going to the Board of Elections because there was a number of things about the election that I believe disenfranchised the residents of New Brunswick and also went against their civil rights. That has nothing to do with you, okay? But my question is, are you planning on doing anything to make the residents of New Brunswick aware of this special election on April 16th?
George?
It's not a special election. Those are the statewide school board elections.
Okay, I take that.
They can be, let me finish.
School elections.
They can be scheduled in April or November.
Right.
Ours is in April. We're having it, and every registered voter in the city of New Brunswick gets a sample ballot saying there's an election, April 16th, and here are the candidates, and you can vote. So to say it's a secret election is nonsense, absolute nonsense. Now, if you want the board to spend money on public relations, that's not our job. Our job is to spend money on educating students. There is an election. There's already been ads in the paper saying you have to register by a certain date, and an ad in the paper saying when you have to file your petition. So it's not a secret election. That's a misstatement.
Well, I don't know about you, okay, but I don't read the legal notices in the home news every day. I don't know if any of the board members do, or any of the people here do, but I don't, and that's where it was, okay? Now, as far as the sample ballot, that goes out like the week before the election. How do people know, residents of New Brunswick know, if they want to be a candidate for the board, okay, when they have to have their petitions in, unless they read the legal notice, okay? My concern is that you are disenfranchising the residents of New Brunswick. You're having your people come out and vote because your people know about it, but nobody else does, okay? And this is typical of New Brunswick. It's not a democracy here. It's more of a dictatorship, okay? You do what you want to do, and then whatever, okay? My concern is that it is not being advertised, okay? I will do to the best of my ability to put letters to the editor. I will also be contacting the newspapers to make sure that they are aware of it. So just in case you're interviewed, you don't want to spend any money. Believe me, if you want me to, I'll be more than happy to write up the press release for you. And then all you have to do is sign it, send it back to me, and I will send it out to all the press. It's not a big deal. I've done press releases before. I'm pretty damn good at it. So, you know, I mean, if you want me to do that, I'll be more than happy to do that. It's not a big deal, but I think the people of New Brunswick, you owe it to the people of New Brunswick, since this is such a historic moment, to let them know about this election. And I think you should be ashamed of yourselves by not doing that. You're disenfranchising the voters of New Brunswick. Shame on you. Let me know if you want me to do that press release.
You can't even comment.
Good evening. Can I go?
Yeah.
I was hoping that you'd give me a few extra minutes because I wanted to respond to some of the things that were said at the last meeting. So I might run a little over 5 minutes, so I ask that you grant me that. Since I stood by the microphone while everybody else did it. Can I have that little extra time?
Let's see how it goes, okay?
All right. First of all, let me give congratulations to Diana and to Mr. Hush. I went to school with Mr. Hush. We ran track together. What really bothered me about the last meeting was the anger. And we're talking about children and educating children. It made me go home and go through some of my research. And since I graduated in 1969, I went all the way back then, and as I knew Frank Green, who was the superintendent then, and I came across a study, a research study in 1975, when your uncle was board president, Roy Epps. And I'm not going to get into that right now, but the thing that I want to say is that I'm not just one to get up here and complain. I don't want anything from you. I believe if I say something and I'm concerned about the community, I should have some solutions. We spoke about the band on January 21st, a neighborhood drill team, nationally famous that I created, March for Dr. King. And we cover from elementary to high school. And you spoke about the band down at the Wellness Center. Well, I hope one day that the band be able to march in the New Brunswick parade so we don't have such a skimpy parade, that we see some of the benefits from it. And I thought about what I was going to say. And the young lady who I spoke about that went to Japan and graduated, was in the drill team, came by the house over the weekend, and she's on her way to Okinawa, Japan. Which makes me feel good when talking about leadership and talking about excellence for young children to be successful. Then I ran across Todd Underwood's mother, Michelle Underwood, who was a part of that. And she reminded me that her son was on the drill team when he was young, and he's playing presently with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who graduated from Rutgers. I don't even brag about myself, and I never did. I realize that we deal with facts. One who mind read, know, if they're a lawyer, know that mind read was not admissible in court. So when I say something, I'm very clear about it. And to Ms. Solowski, we graduated school together. And I want to tell my own history. That she didn't say that during 1969, the riots, we had North Brunswick, Middletown, and New Brunswick going to school at the same time. She didn't say that I was part of the 1010 committee, that was the committee that ran the school after the student council was voted out because we had problems then. And she didn't say that I was captain of the football team. But it left me to think that one member that I graduated with, an Italian, who worked for the city, he reminded me of the game that we played in Rucker Stadium against Southfield. And it was an important game that I was a feature halfback. And he said, Jimmy, he says, they kept giving you the ball, and you looked tired. And he was a member of the band. He said, but they kept giving it to you, giving it to you. And my response to him was that during that week, they prepared me for that. That being proud and being part of the Brunswick High School was, the main thing was to win the game. It's a little hard to have your Thanksgiving turkey when you lose. But one of the coaches told me, he said, Jimmy, you've been running around with them all day long, and I've seen you on the football field. He says, but every now and then, you got to run over somebody to let them know that you mean business. So, with that said, if you want me to stand here and you got some responses to what I'm saying, I'll gladly respond to it. But I'm in the mode right now that the coach taught me. Because I went home and I did my homework. I studied the interest for people, campaign money. I studied the job list that people have jobs in the school system. So everything ain't like everybody, just want to be a board member and it's okay. There's interest behind that. And I was able to do a little homework, and because I'm older, I can link a lot of that together. But the key is success. We live in a city that kids are killing each other. They're not prepared for future jobs. This is a city of science and technology. And I'll be quiet if you want a response. Because from reading the research report, when they broke it down, and all the jobs that left New Brunswick in 1975, it was up to the school system on how they were going to prepare the future. And it spoke about secretarial jobs, janitorial jobs, and it spoke about who were going to be the people to get those jobs and who were going to be the people prepared to get the real jobs. So, I'm going to be quiet because I want, if you have a response to what I'm saying, I'm going to stay here. And then I'm going to respond because we're talking about children. And I wouldn't want it that someone else to tell my history because I've always been a successful person. And I earned it old-fashioned way. I worked for it. I'll sit down.
Good evening. My name is Yolanda Baker, 317 Sanford Street. Also founder of Place, Parents Leading Advocacy in Children's Education. And I see two board members here today. Welcome. Congratulations. I have some questions here. One of my questions is, how many schools in New Brunswick are focused schools? And can you explain to the public what focused school means?
Mr. Captain.
When the Department of Ed changed and asked for a waiver from the U.S. Department of Education, they created three areas: focus, priority, and reward. They're in the process now of changing CUSAC monitoring as well. Focus schools are schools that are almost at the cusp and would have been released under NCLB with one more year of testing. They were safe harbor schools. Priority school is a school that is at the lowest 5% of the state, as adjudicated by testing of 2 years ago. Reward schools are schools that are neither of the above.
So how many schools in New Brunswick are focused and how many are priority?
5 focus, 1 priority.
And which school is priority?
Middle school.
And what's being done currently in the middle school?
At the current time, excuse me.
Being in the priority status, what's currently being implemented within the middle school?
Part of the priority status of a school is there's a regional achievement center that's been established. We are in Regional Achievement Center 5. The Regional Achievement Center provides a supportive environment and a grouping of objectives and goals that are self-produced here in the district and approved by them. 30% of Title I funding is then assigned to that budget for those issues, as is focus as well, by the way.
And do you have any reward schools?
No.
Currently, there are 3 vice principals that are located in this priority school called the middle school here in New Brunswick. And each one of them is making over $100K. Could you please explain to me how they're actually helping the school get better since they've been there since implementation? I think it started in 2005, and it still hasn't gotten better to now where the state is coming into our schools. Could you please tell me what are those administrators? How is that $300,000 that we're spending on them? How is that benefiting our students?
As a matter of fact, those are not the vice principals that were there. Those vice principals were transferred by this board once the school designation occurred. This is their first year in the school. Those people are Ashanti Holly, Dawson, and who am I missing? Sally Dobson and Kosis, Joanne Kosis. Those are successful vice principals from schools that were not designated either focus or priority school. That is not the team that was in there in 05.
Okay.
That is a brand new team.
So do they have like certain responsibilities and time frames to be able to show that they can?
As does the principal, yes. It's an annual basis. We need to improve 8.3% student achievement over a 3-year period.
Over a 3-year period, you said?
Yes.
And are there any administrators there that are actually, able to translate into Spanish?
Yes.
Like who?
Like who what? Who speaks Spanish?
Who would be the administrators that are in those positions? Are they able to communicate in Spanish?
If they can't, there are other people in the building who do. Unlike some of the publicity that was out during the campaign, I can tell you that we have more Spanish-speaking administrators in the district than non-Spanish-speaking administrators. As someone once wrote, they don't have anybody is a lie. We do.
Okay, and also you have a uniform policy.
Student uniforms?
Yes, school uniform policies.
Yes.
Is there, I saw like the high school was suddenly wearing black. Is there like a reason why, the colors are changing? Because when I look at
Colors are not changing. Colors are not changing. There are days when we have dress-down days or other types of events where we do allow staff and children to make changes for a particular fundraising event.
Okay, because I just pulled out your policies and it showed the colors, and I was just wondering why all of a sudden black is there, but it hasn't been changed in your policies.
No.
Okay.
Ms. Baker?
Yes.
You've already gone past at least 2 topics on there. Can you let someone else come to the podium and spend the days to speak, please?
Well, it's not about topics. Do I need to get your
But that's
policies?
the policy.
No, it's not about topics.
That is a topic, please. Let
It's
someone
not
else.
about topics, but I'll come back up here and let
Please.
you know that your board policy doesn't state that you only can speak about one topic for 5 minutes. It does not state that.
Okay, well, let someone else.
But I will let someone else come back up and I'll
Thank you.
bring the policy with you next time.
Thank you, I have the policy here.
All right.
Again, Charles Cradaville. I just wanted to say, just to recap what happened here. The petitions that were made available to folks running for the school board had a date on it. It was a specific date. It was December the 21st. That policy was changed on December the 21st without notice to the public at the request of
Mr. Cradaville. Mr. Cradaville.
Yes.
On the policy, you can only talk on that. You can't talk on the same topic.
When I was told to sit down before, I said that this was the same topic.
No,
You said that I could come back here and I could ask questions on it.
Topic. You would ask a different question.
Well, I'm going to continue. My
I'm
question,
afraid I'm going to disrupt you. You cannot speak on that topic.
Mr. Spencer, it's on video. You told me to sit down and you would allow me to come back and speak.
On another
Did you or
topic.
did you not do that?
On another topic. You were asking another topic that was not at all connected to the first topic that you discussed.
The very reason you told me to sit down was you cut me off in the middle of my question. You said it's not on the same topic, so here it is. Here's my question. It's for Mr. Hush and it's for Ms. Fajardo, the new members of the board. I'd like to ask them a question.
Mr. Cradaville, you went to another topic. You can change the topic.
You just
I
did.
believe I have the policies here, and my question is for Mr. Hush and Ms. Fajardo.
And you cannot speak directly to them. You have to present it to me.
Correct. Through the chair, for Mr. Hush and Ms. Fajardo, it's a very simple question. Why did you turn in the petitions after the deadline that was advertised? How did you know that that was going to be okay?
I'm going to refer that to Mr.
The county clerk messed that up, saying the deadline was the 21st. It was always that Monday.
Huh.
So there was
Now
no
it's
reason
too
to
late.
respond to that. They filed their petitions
Now
within
it's
10
too late.
days of the election, of the deadline. The 21st was published by the county, not by the school district. And the county was wrong. If it falls on a weekend, the 10th day falls on a Sunday, you can turn them in on Monday. I'm quite sure that's exactly what they did. Had they turned them in on Monday and it was too late, they would have been rebuffed. That's the answer.
So the county made an error.
Who made?
The county made an error.
By saying it was closed on Friday. Yes, they did.
Right. And so what is the procedure for letting people know that that error was made and that there's going to be a change and that there may be more candidates in the election than we were led to believe?
They could have attempted to turn them in on Monday too, and if Monday was too late, they would have been told it's too late. The deadlines are deadlines, but I'm telling you this, as a matter of law, if a deadline, any deadline, court filing deadlines, election deadlines fall on a weekend or a holiday, the next day is the deadline, and that's what happened.
Well, my question was for the elected officials, the folks who have actually won the support of the voters, and I just wanted to know what led you to believe it was going to be okay to turn the petitions on Monday?
I particularly don't know that, but that was the correct deadline. Had they filed them and it would have been too late, they would have been turned down. But they weren't too late.
Right, yeah, I just wanted to hear from them why they did that.
We don't.
It was their decision. Did you tell them that it was going to be okay?
Me personally, no.
Okay.
We knew the county made a mistake, and I was on top of that to tell them they were wrong, and Mr. Vignolo told them they were wrong. Now, whether they published that or whether they made it known, I don't know. But I'm telling you this, to close the petitions on Friday was legally incorrect. And these two candidates, I don't know who else may have, I didn't keep track, but they were allowed to turn them in Monday legally, and they did.
Understood. Thank you for that explanation. I would like to hear from the candidates if they would be interested in speaking on the matter.
That will not happen. We do not do that. So.
I'm sorry, what?
We do not do that. We will not, I will not allow it.
You won't allow them to answer questions?
No.
Are they not elected officials?
Am I not the president? So the answer is no. So next person, please.
Okay, next question would be, what was the cost of the election?
I'm not speaking on that.
Well, you can ask that.
You can ask.
George?
The final cost of the election is not known. I have not received all the bills from the county for the poll workers, so I don't have a final tally as of yet.
Okay. And one final question would be for the three members whose terms are set to expire. I just want to know, are you planning on running to keep your seats and stay on the board?
This is not the meeting to ask that question. Please.
I would like to know. I think the public would like to know.
That's their decision. That is their decision.
If you want to interview them because you're a journalist, you can do that individually. What Mr. Spencer's saying is in line with the policy. Work through the chair, it's not delegated. If you want to have, as a press member, if you want to ask the question, you're free to ask them individually later.
I would certainly do that.
And your time is up.
I want to take the opportunity to tell everyone here.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Your time is up. Thank you.
God bless you.
Marge Kerber, I'm just confused with the attorney saying that it was the county clerk's fault. Didn't the Board of Education put the ad in the paper? I mean, wasn't the legal notice put in by the Board of Ed? So
Yes, it did. It said 10 days. It didn't have a deadline.
Didn't have it.
Go ahead. You did the ad.
The advertising in the newspaper did not mention anything about any deadline for when the nomination petitions were due. It only had information that if you wanted a nominating petition, you were to call the county clerk and they would give you all the details.
Okay. So I guess people just by osmosis know when they're supposed to get the petition. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, no further questions. Whereas the Open Meeting Act, Chapter 231 PL 1975 provides that certain matters of the public body may be discussed in closed session, and whereas the Board of Education intends to discuss matters as follows. Personnel matters, matters of attorney-client privilege, now therefore it be resolved that the aforesaid subject shall be discussed in closed session by this Board of Education and administrative staff. And the minutes of said closed session discussion will be made available to the public when the reasons for the non-disclosure in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act no longer exist. Mr. Gentleman.
Mr. Caldwell? Yes. Ms. Fajardo?
Yes.
Mr. Hush? Yes. Dr. Kranos? Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
We're in closed session.
I would just comment to the public that in addition to our usual business, we also have 3 student hearings that are in closed session by law, so we will be in for quite some time. Thank you.
Of course.